You know, every language has its own little secret codes, right? These phrases that mean something totally different from the words they actually use. So today, we're going to put on our detective hats, grab our magnifying glasses, and just crack the code of English idioms. You ready? Let's do this.
Okay, so picture this. A friend tells you they have to bite the bullet on some tough project. Are they actually about to chew on a piece of metal? Probably not. It just means they're facing a really difficult situation with a lot of courage. And here's a fun fact for you. This phrase probably comes from way back before modern medicine, when wounded soldiers would literally bite a lead bullet to deal with the pain of surgery. Wild, right?
These kinds of weird but super common phrases are what we call idioms, and they're a huge part of sounding natural in English, but man, they can be a real puzzle if you try to take them word for word. So maybe think of it like this. An idiom is a phrase where all the words team up to create a totally new meaning. The phrase itself is kind of like the lock, and today we're going to find all the keys.
First up, we're heading out into the wild. Seriously, the animal kingdom is a massive source of idioms. It just seems like we love to explain our human situations by borrowing from the world of, fur, feathers, and fins.
Okay, take this one. Just picture it. A dog, totally convinced a squirrel is up one specific tree, and it's just barking its head off, but the squirrel is actually sitting one tree over, completely safe. It's a pretty funny image when you think about it, right?
And that mental picture gives us the meaning perfectly. If you're barking up the wrong tree, you're completely mistaken. You might be blaming the wrong person, or maybe looking for a solution where it just isn't. You've basically got the wrong tree.
And there are just so many more. Like the elephant in the room. That's that huge, obvious problem that nobody wants to talk about. Kill two birds with one stone? Well, that's just solving two problems with one single action. And if someone tells you to not beat a dead horse, they're saying, hey, stop wasting your energy on an issue that's already over and done with.
Now here's where it gets a little more subtle. Sometimes you have two different idioms that have really similar meanings. So both spill the beans and let the cat out of the bag mean you reveal the secret. But letting the cat out of the bag usually means you ruined a surprise or a plan, while spilling the beans is more general. You just told a secret you really shouldn't have. See the difference?
All right, next up, the weather. I mean, we talk about it all the time, so it's really no surprise that it has rained down a whole collection of idioms into the English language.
This one has got to be one of the most famous and, let's be real, most bizarre idioms out there. Can you seriously imagine looking out your window and seeing actual cats and dogs falling from the sky? It's a pretty wild thought.
Luckily, the real meaning is much, much simpler. It just means it's raining really, really hard. It's just a way more dramatic and fun way to describe a total downpour.
And the weather gives us so many other great expressions. If you're feeling a little sick, you're under the weather. A huge fuss over a teeny tiny problem? Oh, that's just a storm in a teacup. And if you're incredibly happy, you are on cloud 9. It really shows how we use the forecast to talk about our feelings and what's going on in our lives.
Okay, our final category is a special one. These idioms aren't just for describing things, they're actually little nuggets of wisdom passed down through generations. You can think of them as short, super memorable proverbs.
I mean, just look at these. No pain, no gain. A classic reminder that you gotta work for success. Haste makes waste warns us that rushing around usually leads to mistakes. And a personal favorite, actions speak louder than words, which is just a great reminder to trust what people do over what they just say. They're basically life lessons you can fit in your pocket.
So, after this quick tour through the wacky world of idioms, what's the big takeaway here? We've gathered all the clues, and I think it's time we finally unlock the code.
So here's the secret. Idioms aren't just random phrases made to confuse everybody. They're the language's personality. They're these creative shortcuts that let us express really complex ideas, like being mistaken or revealing a secret, in a way that's vivid and easy to remember.
Once you really start to get them, you unlock this whole new layer of the English language. Using them correctly can make you sound way more natural, and let's be honest, it's just more fun to say you're on cloud 9 than just saying you're very happy.
And that brings us to the end. But I want to leave you with this final thought. Idioms exist in almost every single language. So I'm really curious, what's the strangest or maybe the most interesting idiom you know in your own native language? Think about it. It's just a cool reminder that every culture has its own unique, wonderful secret codes. Thanks for listening.